September 26, 2009, I lost my first race against a kid that I beat every day at school. His name is Madison Green. At the time, I didn't understand why he beat me because I had him beat by at least 2 feet when we raced back at school out to Vista some time ago. But it wasn't until later on that I found out there's a few methods that he used, a few tricks that he had in order to beat me while on the track that was different than a field out there. So, how you doing? I'm Isaiah Houston. I forgot to introduce myself. And today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to increase your speed while on the track. First off, we're going to start with our start-offs, coming out of the blocks, working on our digging, our grinding out of the first few meters. Second off, we're going to jump to arms, breathing, which to me goes hand in hand. Every stroke you control your breathing, everything, And then lastly, we'll finish off by explaining how to hug the curve and kind of what that means. All right. Now from the head. There we go. Take these off. Hard-earned medals throughout my life with a couple of tricks that I'm going to teach you. So, as a start, we're going to start with blocks. Blocks is, let's see, for someone who's never understood track, who's never seen a block before, a block is basically just a piece of metal with 2 little pieces, I guess you would say, footrests or something like that. Little pieces to put your feet on. You can adjust those easy. I use the method where I go from, I wish I could show you all this. It's so much easier if it wasn't online. Well, alright. The method I use to set up my blocks is I kind of, imagine this being my block. I would have had a prop at school, but imagine this being my block. I count 2 steps from my dominant step forward, bam, bam, from the block. And I'm not going to stand up on here again, but let's just imagine that from my block. And on my weak foot, my less dominant foot, which happens to be my right foot, I only count 1 step. So my feet, this would be the angle my feet were in. All right, okay, now we got that. So the most important thing about blocks is to stay relaxed. So kind of that most important thing running period, but most thing to me is to stay relaxed in your blocks, and when coming out, not to raise your head. People always raise their head when they come out of the blocks. The first 5 meters, 6 meters, however long it takes them to raise their head, they always raise their head a lot too early. The best way to start and finish out of your little block phase is to dig out at least 30 meters of your run. Sorry about that. Next, we're going to be talking about your arms and your breathing and how they go hand in hand. Whew. So, I'm going to turn sideways for this presentation. A little easy saying that a lot of people will want to tell you if you're ever on track is from eye level or ear to pocket. Pocket right there. But here's one of my funny coaches. He'd always say from cheek to cheek. So I guess you can say that, but just know every stroke that you go with your arm pumps is from cheek to cheek. I'm going to use that because it's a little better. So cheek to cheek. And the reason I believe that your arms and your breathing has a lot to do with each other because every phase of your boom, 1, boom, you should be able to control your breathing in between those. So people don't know how much that helps them until they realize that breathing controls all their muscles. So just control your breathing while running and keep pumping your arms, and believe me, everything will be smooth in that case. Lastly, I want to talk about the hardest, probably the hardest thing to talk about is hugging the curb. So everyone should know track is basically a circle, okay? So when running against, first off, running on the curb and on a straight, it's like 2 different monsters. But I'm not going to get there. Let's just talk about the curb. So when hugging the curb, I kind of like to imagine the curb, or imagine my lane being like the only place I can go. Like, there's no way I can go this way, no way I can go. I imagine my lane being my lane, and that's the only place that I can get in. Hold on. Now, once I insert the first piece of the curb, because it's like you gradually go into the curb, but my first step into the curb is when I slowly start leaning my shoulders towards the curb, just so my body can align, with the curb. As soon as the curb gets like deep, so I would say like the third step into the curb is when the curb, you can tell like you're on the curb now. There's no going back. You're on the curb now. This part's gonna probably feel like longer than the straightaway. So by the time the curb gets real, I start to dip my head into the curb as well, because just naturally you dip your head, you kind of like, you know, you're gonna go with the curb no matter what. All right. And again, relax. I know I say relax probably like in every little topic of this, but relaxing is very important. If you try to run a curb without being relaxed, I don't understand how you're gonna do it. You're probably just gonna run straight. So when all these phases, all these topics that I brought up, relaxing is also key. It's not one of them, but it's just key. Always maintain relax. You can look at Olympics, look up Olympics track. I bet it's probably the fourth picture you look up. It's gonna be someone running with a relaxed face, relaxed shoulders, relaxed everything, because that's very important when running. You need to be relaxed. Today we discussed 3 ways to improve your time on the track: having killer starts out of the blocks, controlling your breathing along with the movement of your arms, and leaning into the curb, all while being relaxed. I may have lost my race, but I've learned so much from them, and I hope you can take it all in and come up on top.